Winston Edmondson here at Hadoop Summit. I'm here with one of the news desk regular contributing analysts. In fact, I would say one of our very top favorites, Mehta. Just watched a great conversation he had with theCUBE, and I want to see if I can't, for Studio B and News Desk, get a little bit on some of that action. Thanks for joining us today.
Winston, a pleasure, thank you.
So, omni-channel, this is fascinating to me. Tell me a little bit, how would you describe that for folks that have never heard that term?
It's very simple. Omni-channel is becoming, as we hear from our customers, as big or probably bigger than .com. So it's kind of like the .omni, you know? And the simplest definition of it is looking at all possible avenues to reach your customers. Whether it's a brick and mortar store, whether it's an online website for e-commerce or information, doesn't matter. A mobile channel, social platforms. Omni-channel transcends all of those avenues that you can reach your customers with, and represents actually a very confusing time in the market on how to build the optimal strategy to leverage and maximize the benefit from all those channels. Because channels are no longer .com and brick and mortar. Now there's a lot many ways, a lot more avenues to reach your customers all the time.
You really have to stretch your mind to grasp all the possibilities. What are some of the more popular or maybe exciting to some of the individuals that you speak with channels out there that they are looking forward to trying to extrapolate and read and understand what some of that information is telling them?
One that is widely spoken about and one is not. The one that's widely spoken about is mobile. Mobile will absolutely fundamentally transform how people interact, act, and deliver and consume products and services in the future. What that looks like is unclear, but it definitely is a challenge that's here to stay, because the reality is we all carry in our pockets a piece of computing device that is more powerful than Apollo 13 was, when it went into space. That has more computing power than Apollo 13. So mobile is the one channel in omni-channel that's incredibly well written about. The one that's not well written about is social platforms, which I think is a miss from the usual humdrum of people talking about different channels. Social platforms like Facebook. Facebook has its own iOS, it's called Canvas. And you can build apps on top of Canvas on Facebook as well. And it's incredibly powerful because of the fact that 1.5 billion people globally are on it. So I think social platforms, especially Facebook and Facebook Canvas, is hardly spoken about and needs to be spoken about a lot more. I guess a part of that reason is the fact that there are more and more social platforms coming up, and people are confused on all the platforms they need to be on. So unlike mobile, which is a form factor and technology, social today remains more of a multi-platform approach, right? So should you have a Pinterest app and a Foursquare app and a Twitter app is unclear. But in the minimum, what I tell people is don't get confused. You need to have something on mobile, and you've got to have something on Facebook. And if you do that, in addition to online and brick and mortar, you've got a really good start towards omnichannel.
Now, you spoke, when you were speaking on theCUBE, about likes and how there could be some noise there, because a like doesn't always represent necessarily that someone likes something. I mean, there's different reasons to click like. So how are organizations trying to sort through, all these social cues, likes and retweets and things like that?
The like, we will look back at the like years from now as probably the biggest social indicator to have transformed analytics. So I slightly disagree with you, which is a like does tell you that you like something. The challenge is, how do you actually monetize the like, which is what Facebook is working on, obviously. We have our own different perspective on it, because can a like be monetized? The answer is absolutely yes. That becomes tricky though. So I know that Winston likes certain things. Does he like them enough to act on them is the question. You cannot answer that question in a silo. You can't answer the question in a vacuum, is a better word, I'm sorry. Only looking at likes. So what we do at Tresata is, first of all, going back to omnichannel, we are talking to our customers and informing them what channels should they go after, And this is not because we built it. We just advise to them and say, you should do online, mobile, Facebook, and brick and mortar. Number one. Number two, we are, through our engines and our software, helping them collect all of that data and curate it at the individual level, which is very key. Once you know what Winston likes, once you know what Winston buys, which is data that Facebook doesn't have, once you then correlate that to data that what will Winston buy in the future, which is data that Facebook may have, but the other banker or the retailer or the pharma company has, once all that correlations are built, suddenly the life becomes a lot more interesting. Because I know you like something, I know you have a proclivity to buying things like it, I know you typically buy them in group behavior rather than individual behavior, and I know that you are looking for it right now based on a tweet. Now I can monetize it. That is what is tricky and exciting.
The convergence of all these things, and when they all come together, that's when you can move with it.
Exactly. But looking at a like in vacuum, looking at a hashtag in vacuum, looking at credit card transactions in a vacuum is not going to solve the problem.
That makes sense.
That is what analytics used to be. The future of analytics is fusing all of it together. And that's what we are very excited about.
So I've been thinking about something. I want to throw it out at you because I've never heard it. I've been speaking with people all over here. I haven't heard it. I'm holding my phone here because you've got some really powerful sensors in phones. You just said that this is probably the smartest computing device that people carry. When I'm looking at websites, it tracks my eyes and it moves the website down the page. If I'm watching video and I turn away, it stops. It seems like there's some that's big data waiting to be exploited. When I'm looking at Facebook, my facial expression or how long it's holding my attention. Why haven't we heard that type of excitement from these big data vendors about harnessing the data that these smartphones are now collecting?
I think because it's tough to do. It's tough to understand. That's where companies like us, Tristina, come in. My company comes in. It's very difficult to figure out how do you monetize big data. It's not easy to do. We have spent, at this point, 2.5 years of deep R&D. We're going to announce next week our product suite that has been not just developed, but applied in very, very interesting situations to solve some key business problems and applications. It's just not easy to do, Winston. But the reality is, it is being spoken about now, right? You look at the industrial internet and the GE agenda and propaganda they're coming out with it. You guys covered it. And it's all around machine data. It's all around sensor data. That is very interesting, which is what they're saying is, I don't want to sell an engine anymore. I want you to rent the engine of the aircraft. And by the revolutions of the blades in the engine, I'll charge you per revolution. Or I'll be able to tell you after 6 months that enough revolutions, it needs new rotors or some part needs to be replaced, right? That is all industrial internet data, right? The sensors data is very important. The reality is it's lots and lots of information. The best example of it is what's being done in the Large Hadron Collider up in Switzerland, right? Which is industrial data, LHC.
Did they find the God particle?
The Higgs boson, the Higgs boson, right? So they did, and that's what that was looking at sensor data. Happened to be one expensive piece of sensor. Wish I was there too, what a fascinating project. But I think to answer your question, mobile as a channel has a long way to go. For now, what it has done is it has been used as an access mechanism to do two main things. Allow you to connect with your friends, which is whether text or visually or Skype or if you're using a phone call, and find information. Mobile can be used for more than that. Mobile can become a tool to actually drive a sell. We're working on something very, very exciting with a customer of ours to make mobile the lowest common denominator to actually close a product sell. Wow. That's exciting. There is some time to come in that. It's just very difficult to get your mind around.
Powerful stuff, Abhi. I wish we could meet in person more often just because I'm inspired just getting to talk with you. So I appreciate the time. And we'll do it again soon, probably virtually from News Desk.
We absolutely will. And it's good to meet you in person too.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Winston Edmondson with Abhi Mehta, Studio B, signing out.